Drugs without me saying that.
Whole life trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to follow. You feel pain, ain't a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so vexed. I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote. Now I'm setting fire. The prison man views what is time smoke. Running with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Feel like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now I'm look, 10 G's busting good break. Sometimes I follow work as a soldier, trying to find a good trip. Just when you in hell, how did you excel? Listen well to what I tell. No call that can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword with a style that they might just record. The only thing equal is the curse for the wicked and the righteous reward. Have mercy on the many don't see it, separated from the tares. Now on my players, and it's so be a rebel. Take the world by word of mouth. U.P.K, we a rebel that you heard about. Yeah. And it ain't gonna stop till 100 virgins in the house and I'm handing verdicts out. Get right, you ain't heard it out. Without the shadow of a doubt, these devils seeing licks off. Fuck the bank, I'm about to stole the pocket, taking off. Sweet talks, cannot stop. Plus I know the feds watch us. I tell the people that they church full of witch doctors. When it's in prison, they stop violence. Meanwhile, U.P.K turn the rebels into rock wallers. They leave with mighty men, and now I understand things that never truly made sense. While I'm crying at this through the roof for a criminal, knowing you ain't innocent, it's fucked up. But my blue shot, and between two priests, about to blaze on their heads, call it tough love. Look out for niggas just love, and wouldn't touch a white bitch with OJ's black glove. Father, forgive me for this truth, cause for a long time, it's a rebel without a call. Look, man. First time I met playing GEN.YAHANNA, man, he 3807. I'm saying my little daughter with me. Opened the door, he was dropping the truth on me and all that. He said, yeah, man, you know, you do your time, you take your mom's training hand-to-hand combat. I said, oh yeah, the reason I'm alive, thank God for this truth. This for a long time, it's a rebel without a call.
You cannot whoop us. We're already dead. We're already beaten down. We've been beaten down before like a weed. Wounds inside and outside our body. How you gonna hurt us? You cannot threaten us. You cannot frighten us. We live in the most frightening places, under the most frightening conditions. We are immune to fear. We are immune to harm. You see what I'm saying? You have stepped into a cesspool. You're the only one who will get infected.
First breath I took, a life too surreal. Second breath I took was the pivot and strike, finish the kill. Influenced my life with every second's reveal. I'm gonna pay back, fuck the dollar bill. Remain calm as the pressure build. Dollar it don't until I let this pump select my focus and memory and give me till. I only live through my master's real. I.S.U.P.K, motherfucker. Ain't no cowards on this battlefield. God is straight, but made greater. In my return, left in my mistakes. Every error was a lesson learned. Now I don't move, listen, get approved. Don't take a step till they get confirmed. On the tape, it was made for our sex. Much like a tech. One step will make the ground shake. My people sick in their head, Lord, let this truth spread like an outbreak. Bring hell and the crackers can't escape. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. No more payback for the scars and the slave been wars. The price of ride, I can't let it slide. Ignore the lies. The only free will that's before your eyes. It's life or death, nigga, you decide. This heaven was made for me and my fellow. I'm patiently waiting with my eyes on the sparrow, and I lay hold of this brotherhood. Swear I never let go. And fuck that shit was cool and too much love for. Or set up with BB, I die for the code. Just to hear the language of love. And I chew on every word I say. Cause I know my victory. Oh, my nigga, hard. Could you tell me I'm just gone that you feel so much? So cause it's real, I be talking with the makers. Boy, I like to tell you hard. My nigga hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with the makers. Boy, I can't be touched. Can't do it in clutch. They hate but they can't doubt us. We princes of the power, but you know evil all around us. But a nigga straight, I told you I can't be touched. Only angels walk at my pace. I'm grateful for the words that had me delivered. I'm hungry for the joy, but I ain't eating till I feed my niggas. One West, what I die for. Attire out the book and numbers, this rifle from you. All Angel Michael. Be my niggas rebels, you can't deny it. It's one for the to and fro with the other higher. My youth became selfish, ain't no folding, no pretending. We in it for the crowns, for the greatest, we want the million. In the election section, I hope I make it through. Give a damn what a bitch think, as long as my niggas know I'm true. The stranger kind to get success, make it do the eye of the steel nigga. I'll be like, baby, hard, but I can't get up. Oh, my nigga hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be talking with your niggas. Boy, I got it hard, but I can't get up. My nigga hard. And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with your niggas. Boy, I can't be touched. Test 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. All that only was the big gangster. All that only was the gangster. The Lord said, fetch a good for the soul. It's a great line. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. The Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. Shot call. To be known with them niggas letting shots off. Either that or the right hand to the top dog. Funny how we see better than that the lives lost. Can't be focused on the life that's hopeless. Out there pumping, not knowing the Lord will kill you for that hocus pocus. Used to roll with niggas that cooked up with weaponry. Same ones came to love you. I had no life in jeopardy. And I know my mother wants success for me. But that G should take a girl straight to ecstasy. Remember running with bruh. Even though we did the wrong thing, my life would have been a lot different if I fell up on the wrong street. Was too sincere for a wicked game. Shame the Lord's name. Now we afflicted with prayer on the apple morning. Was to be respected by stand-up niggas. Not knowing that them handcuffs custom made. The fight I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. I ain't lying, I was close to dying. Knew wanted to live, but I wasn't trying. I was defiant, not knowing that this ain't how it's just how they design. Cause when you in the streets, you get more endemic. They don't tell you gonna be on papers and no restrictions. My father said a hard head to make us all ass. I didn't care what it feel when I walked past. In the place where a black man's blood is cheap. I thank the Lord for the day I was on Lake Street. Pissing in the cup. The DC school, I swear it felt like I cried on that fucking porch. The Lord said, my sheep, they ain't hear my voice. That's me why I'm I.S.U.P.K. I told them I ain't have a choice. They said God ain't 50-50 and what's gonna come to pass. The Lord called me out the world and that's not right. All it was to be a gangster. Little did I know I wasn't nature. Decisions that I made were from the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I wasn't nature. Decisions that I made were from the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. I.S.U.P.K until it hit the fan. I want power and a throne, nigga, fuck the grams. All I wanted was to be a gangster, but I was real as a righteous man. And now I got the upper hand, gotta promote this brand. Correct all multitudes until they all understand. If I can't get that crown, Lord, then put me in the hands of someone more mighty make me this hit man. Reminiscing on the pain that was felt. Shit, I was in the jail. Shit, I needed help. But I was locked up in the judge for man on the shelf. Every crime it felt like I was left by myself. All I wanted was to impress niggas with my grinding. Now I ain't trying to prove shit that nobody but Muhammad. Cause most these niggas lying by the smoke. One time for the most high, baby. Cutthroat. Cause all I ever wanted was to smash my opponents. Go ahead, stack your cash, not knowing that what you gotta hope yourself by told me. Go ahead, cause all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I wasn't danger. The decisions that I made was from the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time that I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I wasn't danger. The decisions that I made were from the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster.
Shalom. With the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, my 1 West, 125th Street, Harmony, GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians our true identity according to the Bible, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, or the Lord's chosen people, and according to the scriptures, the only nation upon the face of this earth that the Lord gives a damn about. Same man that invaded these lands hundreds of years ago, back in 1492. And the same ones that enslaved our brothers off the west coast of Africa. And the same ones that forced us into reservations, into the ghettos, into the barrios, is nothing more than the devil that the Bible speaks of. Jeremiah. Slaki. Saying Shalakia for the late start. We had a couple technical difficulties. Understand we should be Tawab now. But today is the Tuesday Brotherhood class. So where we teach our nation the importance of having brotherhood amongst one another. Understand, and keeping it within the nation. Understand, not giving it to our oppressor or any other heathen nation out here. Because one thing we don't realize is that brotherhood truly makes or breaks a people. You understand? We've been lacking brotherhood for so long, and really so many of us don't even realize what brotherhood is. That, you know, first time you hear about it, which really the first time I heard about it was, you understand, no matter how long I was walking the streets thinking I had some type of brotherhood with, you know, my homies in the world, thinking I had brotherhood with heathens, you don't learn what true brotherhood is until you come into the I.S.U.P.K. Slaki. Let me get 1 John 4:20. You can pull over to you. Let me get there with you. Slack. You said John 4:20. 1 John 4:20.
First John 4:20. If a man say, I love God.
It says, so if a man sits there and says, I love God, which it doesn't matter what tribe you're from on the face of this earth, out of the 12 tribes, no matter where it is that we dwell, we always make it a point to let it be known that we love God. You understand? We love the Creator, the one that created all things and brought life. You understand? We make it a point to let that be known, no matter what it is that, you know, that we're doing.
Right.
Even if we're out here doing all types of, you know, wickedness, whether we're selling drugs to our people or committing murders, any type of act that just destroys our nation more and more, we make sure to let it be known to those around us that, you know, oh, I believe in God. You know, saying I fear him. Go ahead.
And hateth his brother.
And what?
And hateth his brother.
And hateth his brother. You understand? So for those of us that sit there and claim to love the Most High, claim to love the Creator, whatever it is you want to, you know, call him, and yet you hate your brother, which so many of us out in our communities, we just have such disdain, such hatred for our own. You understand?
Right.
And like, it ain't even got to be, you know, you going out and selling drugs or committing murders. You know, it can be you having some type of jealousy towards your brother. You understand? Because if you're jealous towards your brother, you're jealous of what he has. And saying that's going to cause for you to develop some type of hatred for that man, and saying
Right.
for that sister. And it doesn't even matter if it's a small bit of jealousy or if it's so goddamn can't even contain it anymore. It's all going to develop into hatred, and eventually you're going to act on them jealous thoughts that you have. You're going to end up stealing from that brother or sister. You're going to end up, murdering them. You understand? You're going to take something that seems small and you're going to expand it into something that is truly terrible. You understand? Something that is a sin according to the Lord.
Right.
Go ahead.
He is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
So it's as simple as that. For those of us that claim to love, the Creator and the ancestors and the different spirits, because really it's all connected into one according to our belief. You understand? And no matter how much we sit there and
What's his name? Like that devil, right? It goes to show you that the oppressor shouldn't be touching this goddamn Bible.
right.
You understand? Because the Bible is because it's a way to siphon money out of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities and keep them docile and weak.
Right.
You understand? But how can he claim to love the Lord when he don't even love Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? The second that hurricane hit down in Houston a couple of years ago, what did that devil do? That devil shut the goddamn church doors.
Right.
The coronavirus wasn't even spreading bad before the church already had shut the goddamn doors. You understand? When I hear this scripture, I think Christian church. I can't help it. Because they're the main ones to talk about how much they love the Lord, how much they worship the Lord, how they sing and dance every goddamn Sunday talking about how much they got songs about them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For the blood of Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And then when it comes to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians and actually showing that love, they don't. It's not reciprocated at all. It's straight hatred. That's all I want to bring out some light.
That was a heavy point you brought out, because just like Christian churches shut their doors on our people that believed in them so much and depended on them to save them from this plague that the Lord had sent. The same thing applies for all these different heathen religions out here. You know what I'm saying? Islam, saying spirituality. The Creator hasn't watched over the Gadites or the reservations in I don't even know how long. They're saying hundreds of years, and yet these are the so-called powers that it is that we depend on,
right,
and expect to save us.
Right.
You understand? And we will follow them without any type of question. But when it comes to the God of Israel, the God of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we don't even. That God, he's made up.
Yeah, who's that?
Yeah, saying he ain't got no power here.
Right. Damn right.
Go ahead and read verse 21.
Gotcha. If a man say, I love God and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God he have not seen?
Verse 21.
This commandment have we from him, that he who love God love his brother also.
It's as simple as that. Those of us that claim to love the Most High, the Creator, saying this ultimate being, you're supposed to be loving our brothers as well.
Right.
It means every single tribe. For the niggas in the ghettos who are hating on, his brother up the street just because he was born on a different block.
Right.
Stand for the Hispanics in the barrios who are hating on their brother just because they come from a different, country, a different part of South America. And really the same thing applies for, a Hispanic that's born on a different block, and then you hating your brother because of that.
Right.
I mean, there's a absurd amount of gang violence out here in the streets of not only America but South America. even up in Canada, place that's supposed to be one of the most peaceful places on the face of this earth, and yet there are niggas up there just gunning one another down over nothing.
Right.
You understand? Over old beefs that it is that our oppressor instigated. You understand? And that's just like what's going on with so-called Native Indians. How it is that we beef amongst one another, even though we like to have unity here or there, but at the same time, we don't let things that have happened in the past and say, oh well, this tribe sat there and murdered my forefathers, and saying, or this tribe sat there and he sold us to the white man. This tribe stole goods and land from us way back in the day. You understand? We're supposed to be forgiving them brothers, and we're supposed to be making sure that we live in the law, statutes, and commandments. Brotherhood is what is going to help our nation to rebuild.
And if I could,
go ahead.
Brotherhood is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is one of the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord has put on Israel.
Right.
To show brotherhood, not just amongst ourselves, but to the Lord also. You have to show that brotherhood to the Lord. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you're supposed to do on to others as you want done unto you, or you not?
Sure.
That's part of the brotherhood, right? So if you want somebody to obey you and listen to you, shouldn't you be doing the same thing with the Lord?
Right.
If you want somebody to love you unconditional, shouldn't you be doing the same thing to the Lord? And you do that by following His law, statutes, and commandments, and following these brotherhood laws. And if I could, I want to pull the scripture real quick.
Yeah.
This is our God.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you had touched on such a heavy point. You're talking about how in South America, North America, Canada, it doesn't matter. Black on black violence is horrible. And here's what you got to understand, because that's the one thing that the white man always hollers the first thing to try to justify him killing your people. But what you got to understand is that violence that you're showing towards that brother is a learned behavior. Like, anybody who's ever seen these so-called gangster movies, right? You've ever seen Scarface, Goodfellas. You've ever seen Godfather. You've ever seen any of these movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same time, they stabbing each other in the back and plotting vengeance from the old country. Right. That's what they used to talk about. Well, in the old country, your great-great-grandfather killed my nephew. So, I said that I can never forgive. You get what I'm saying? Right. Like, he even gave a famous speech how they killed his one son, and he let him know anything ever happened. He said, this nigga trip and twist his ankle, he get a splinter. He's gonna blame them, and it will be war. You get what I'm saying? But Michael Corleone fled. They chased him. They didn't forgive him. They didn't forget about it. They chased him. And this is feuding and killing amongst their own nation. Right. You get what I'm saying? We look at that and we mimic that. That's where we learn it from, because the Lord told us that we're supposed to forgive that brother. You get what I'm saying? We're supposed to forgive that brother. We're supposed to make sure that we don't even let it lead to that. The brotherhood that we show, make sure that we don't lead to wanting to kill each other. That whatever the beef was, we squash it out the way. There's laws from everything to, if I owe you something, to where if we have a dispute about money, we have a dispute about cattle, we have a dispute about anything. There's laws and regulations, laws, statutes, and commandments that we follow to make sure that gets settled so it don't come to bloodshed. You get what I'm saying? But we don't follow the Lord's laws. Instead, we follow heathen customs, which is, I'm going to kill him because he killed one of my brothers. I'm going to kill him because I feel disrespected. We don't even kill because it's a blood debt. We kill. That's the white man. That's his culture. Go ahead.
It's like I was going to add, that's heavy because like back in the day, you know, saying like pre-Columbus, whenever natives would get into wars or battles, it would all be over some type of offense.
Right.
You know, saying when it be over
no bloodshed.
Yeah, it'd just be someone said something, someone looked at somebody the wrong way. Next thing you know, two tribes are going at it.
Right. That's a heavy point. You get what I'm saying? We learned that from the oppressor. A clear example of that is well, it ain't really old, but it's almost to be forgotten to time, because
black Christians always want to sweep the offenses done to our brothers and sisters up under the goddamn rug. We're not supposed to want vengeance or seek justice for crimes that happened to us. But there was a cat in the 60s named Emmett Till. Everybody knows Emmett Till, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the offense that he supposedly did was a wolf whistle. He whistled at a white woman. That, right? That's supposedly what he did. Well, to the white man, that was an offense. Now, mind you, that was not bloodshed.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody got hurt. No, nothing was stolen. He didn't cuss her out, didn't call her a B word, didn't do anything. Supposedly just a, which instead of it being a compliment, it was an offense. The white man got a mob, went to his house, kicked in his door, snatched him out from up under his family, beat him half to death, then tied bricks to his feet and threw him in a goddamn river to drown to death for an offense. That's where we learn it from.
Right.
Scenarios like that is where we learn it from. My fault, I didn't mean to keep going. Let's get that scripture if you would. So
Say 11 and 6.
No, 1 and 3.
Oh, sorry.
Isaiah 1 and 3. You understand? We learn this because we have forgotten the Most High. You get what I'm saying? We have forgotten the days of old and the traditions of old and our own God. We replace our own God for multiple gods.
Right.
Go ahead.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
The ox knoweth his owner.
Owner. Go ahead.
And the ass his master's crib.
And listen, the ass, when you get close to the area where he lives at, he knows what to do. Same thing with your goddamn dogs and cats. Your dogs and cats, you ever take your dog for a walk and you get about 2 blocks away from home and he changes the whole way he's walking? He's like, I know where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I know where I'm at. Like, I let my dog off and she'll run straight to the gate. You know what I'm saying? Because even the goddamn animals know where home is, know who their master is. Keep going.
But Israel doth not know.
But who?
Doth not know.
Listen, Israel don't know. You don't know that you are the Lord's chosen people. You don't know that you're the precious thing, the most precious thing on this earth,
right.
on God's green earth. You understand? It is you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. You are the most. It's the most precious thing that we can absolutely have here in this wicked ass kingdom. Go ahead.
My people doth not consider.
Listen, we don't even consider.
Right.
We don't even consider the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. We don't even consider that brotherhood is a goddamn weapon.
Right.
We don't even consider that. We don't consider coming together and being a nation is the most powerful thing that we can. And here's the funny part. We look at all these other nations because you ask any, just a tad of common sense. He ain't got to have the knowledge of the truth. Just let him have 2 eyes and a little bit of common sense, and he'll see. He'll be like, well, the Chinese man comes over here and gets money. The African comes over here and does this. And, you know, him being in the world, he even say the Mexicans. The Mexicans come together, but niggas don't have nothing. Well, I wonder why that is. You get what I'm saying? Because at the same time you're saying that, you don't even consider the Bible. You're looking for everything else to try to fix your life and fix the world and fix the black community, but the goddamn brotherhood. Like, we just don't consider it. The Christian church damn sure don't consider it. When's the last time they said anything about brotherhood?
Right. It's like I was going to add, you're saying that's a heavy scripture you brought out, because even for the 12 of the 12 tribes that have culture and customs that can be traced back that do match up with the Israelites in the Bible.
Right.
And saying we don't even look at our culture, look at that and be like, you know what? We might be
them people.
Yeah, we might be the Lord's chosen people.
Right.
Instead, you stay natives in the reservations sitting there claiming found native DNA over in the Philippines or somewhere over in Asia. So I mean, we must be Asian. We must come from that land. You understand? We'd much rather be some disgusting heathen than actually be the Lord's chosen people.
Right. You're absolutely right. And what you're saying is such a heavy point, because they will, like you said, they will somehow explain away the blackness. Right.
Like you found DNA over in Philippines, you found Indian DNA over there. Maybe it's because it was niggas over there.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Maybe it's because it was niggas over there. Maybe it's because it was niggas all over the goddamn planet.
Right.
Like the scripture said. Instead of somehow, some way trying to link your DNA to a goddamn filthy heathen, like you said. So like, I ain't really going on that.
Right. The only scripture you.
Yeah, that's it. You pick back up where you want to, whenever you want that.
We're going to go to Matthew 5:22.
Matthews 5:22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
Understand? So that's so many of our people, you know what I'm saying, suffer from this right here. Just being angry with one another, it's like with one another for no reason at all.
Right.
You understand? You can, like we brought up before, you can just look at someone the wrong way.
It's a problem.
Yeah. And saying you got automatic beef. Saying, but by doing that, by having some type of beef with your brother for no reason, that is saying you are in from the Lord.
Right. Damn right. And 9 times out of 10.
Right.
You understand? That judgment is death. Death upon your brother 9 times out of 10 over something that didn't hurt you or your family.
Right.
That's not causing any kind of harm to you. It's just a simple misunderstanding. A simple misunderstanding, and now you have anger towards that brother.
Right.
Like when I hear this, Chris, I think the Christian church. That's the first thing that pops in my head. Christian church spreads everywhere, even on the reservations.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Or destroying the Lord's chosen people. Christianity is destroying the Lord's chosen people by not teaching the brotherhood.
I'll say, like, there's Christian churches deep in the reservations too.
Right.
You understand? I called you about it when I was driving through.
I remember.
And I was just utterly shocked.
You was like, I can't believe it's a goddamn church way out here.
Yeah.
And they said everything, all these other buildings are shut down and destroyed, but this church is fine.
Right.
Somehow this church has managed to stay up in the midst of everything else crumbling around it. Right. The church is here that goes to show you the wickedness of the oppressor. You get what I'm saying? And in that church, you better believe that they're not teaching them Gadites anything that has to do with brotherhood and loving blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They're not loving blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. In that church, they are teaching white supremacy and white supremacy only.
Right.
Of anything that is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? White supremacy loves the Chinese man. White supremacy loves the African man. White supremacy loves the Korean man. White supremacy loves the Muslim man.
Right.
White supremacy loves all of these other nations. And the proof of that is these other nations are able to come over here and dominate over blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But they will dominate over us.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They won't. You could go out to Carmel and Geist, and these is the white areas, the white suburbs in Naptown. You could go out to Carmel and Geist and Greenwood and all them places, and you will see strip malls from miles and miles and miles away. But one thing that you will not see, you will see like these heathens sprinkled in here and there, but them heathens are not able to just dominate.
Right.
The same cannot be said in over here. Like in their areas, you see white-owned businesses. You see everything is owned by, you know. Now you see the heathens sprinkled in here and there, but the dominant economic power out there is the white man in their own community. But over here in the black community, who is the dominant economic power? It's not us.
Right.
It's the heathens, along with the white man. You get what I'm saying? They dominate and have economic prowess over here in our communities to where we're not able to set up and do anything. And then, you know, when a black business does open up, we so out of the spirit of not showing brotherhood that we refuse to go spend in there.
We go in there and see a gallon of milk for freaking $4, and we like, hell no, I'd rather go to Walmart.
Right.
I'd rather drive 15 miles to Walmart to buy a gallon of milk for $1.50 than to walk right across the street to this black mom and pop shop that just opened up and spend $4 to help them get established. Once they get established and bring in some revenue and start making some money, maybe they can drop the goddamn price of the milk. You ever think of that?
So it's like, if I could,
Go ahead.
saying another reason a lot of us don't want to go to these mom and pop shops, shop with our own people, is because just like we brought out how, you know, saying a lot of us simply hold grudges, you know, saying get jealous of the success of someone of our nation,
Right.
and saying knowing damn well that money is going to come back into our own communities rather than it go into America's society. It's going to come right back into the reservations,
Right.
right back into the ghettos and the barrios. It's going to help us better our communities.
That's a perfect example of real right there. Because when you think about it, these other heathen nations, they money circulate through their community at least 5 times. The heathen money circulates through their community before it leaks out. Our money don't even circle once. Not even the goddamn drug circles through our community.
Right.
Niggas think that they doing something and getting money because they hustling. That goddamn drug money don't even circle through the community one time. That goes to the drug dealer, then it goes right back to the white man who was providing all the goddamn drugs. The spirit of brotherhood. To provide for your nation, to provide for your brothers, to provide for your community, that is the spirit of brotherhood. What? My fault.
Okay, 12. If you could read verse 22 from the top.
Yeah, right. Matthew 5:22. But I say unto you, whosoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
And so that right there pertains to, I mean, a lot of different indigenous nations throughout not only Central America, but as well as North and South America, where so many of us, you know, if you want to take someone to counsel, it's not, you know, it's not a bitch move. You understand? Well, what language would you going out and taking some action against your brother because you're caught up in your emotions?
Right. I'm right. And it's so heavy what you're saying, if I could.
Go ahead.
Like you understand that in the world, you get what I'm saying? You go to the white man in the world for counsel. You get what I'm saying? You go, like, even when you're having problems with your woman, you go to a marriage counselor. You get what I'm saying? When you get in trouble with the white man in the court system, you go to drug counsel. You go to anger counsel. You go to all them other counsels.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But you, all of a sudden, it's a problem when you got to go to counsel, or when we teach you about counsel in I.S.U.P.K. And the fact of the matter is this: the counsel is brotherhood.
Right.
Like we gonna pull it in the scriptures later on. But 9 times out of 10, counsel can be avoided if you just follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord.
Right.
It will be avoided because that brother is to come to you and you alone and say, "Hey, you offended me." And out of the spirit of brotherhood, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you love your brother, the last thing that you want to do is offend your brother. You get what I'm saying? It'll hurt your heart to know that you did something that your brother felt was shiesty. And the first thing that you're going to do is make it right. Is
Right.
it not? That's the first thing you're going to do. Whatever I can do to make it right, that's what you're going to do. That is brotherhood. That is how you build a nation. That is how a nation becomes. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Then that brother looks at that other brother like, I know this nigga love me. You get what I'm saying? You goddamn right. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to do whatever we got to do to keep this nation strong. We're going to do whatever we got to do to keep this brotherhood strong. We're going to do whatever we got to do to make sure that we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, my fault.
Oh, no, it's like I was going to add, you say how we make it our duty to make sure that if we offend a brother, you know what I'm saying, we apologize, and we let them know that, shoot, I didn't mean to offend you. I want to make sure this brother stays strong.
Right.
And but even then, you know, like, whenever there would be so-called wars between the Gadites, and there'd be some type of conflict going on, really all it took was for the person that offended this other brother that was causing such strife,
all he had to do was apologize, and it squashed the entire beef. Right. And that was happening, really with damn near like all the beefs that we had before. It was the conquistadors and the English and French came upon these shores.
You got them right. So lucky, if I could.
Go ahead.
Like, that's heavy that you brought that out with the native tribes, because they would get together with their elders and sit down and squash the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? The only way war was started happening is once the Spaniards got involved, once the conquistadors got involved, once the manipulation of the Brotherhood from the goddamn heathen became a factor.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Now, listen, you ain't got to apologize to them. Here, take these rifles.
Right.
Apologize with this bullet. You get what I'm saying? And once more, that is a learned behavior through the nation of Israel, and that's why we are the way we are to this day. I don't blame my brothers for not understanding how to handle that goddamn situation. I blame the oppressor. I blame him. He is the reason why we have this goddamn violence in our community, why we're always fighting amongst each other. He is the reason. It ain't that brother's fault. It's the goddamn devil's fault.
Right.
Who is the oppressor, the oppressor. You
right.
Understand? That's whose fault it is.
You keep on you.
You don't want to teach him. We just look all right. Quit intervening.
No, you're good.
I'll finish up the scripture.
All right.
But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
Read that for me, Bubba Shot.
But whoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
So all that's saying is, you're saying you're gonna be liable to face the Lord's wrath for the actions that you take against your brother.
Right.
Let me get Matthew 18 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? And the Lord's wrath can come in many different forms depending on what it is that you do. You understand? The Lord's wrath could entail him taking away your family,
right.
Taking away your lands, your power, your wealth.
Right.
You understand? Lord can take away any and all things from you. It don't matter what it is. That's why we got to make sure as a nation that we stick to keeping the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right. The Lord will take away one of the most precious things. Every class never fails.
Right.
It's lucky. The Lord will take away one of the most precious things that you take for granted, and that's this brotherhood.
Right.
You understand? You might be mad at your brother for the moment, but when push comes to shove and the crap hits the fan, who the hell are you going to count on? You can't count on your goddamn enemy to have your back. When you got problems with your real enemy, who's going to be there for you? Your goddamn brother. It's lucky. You want to Matthews 18 and 21. Matthews 18 and 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him?
So this is Peter coming to Christ and asking him, taking counsel from Christ or Yahushua, and she's asking him, how often should my brother offend me or sin against me, and I simply forgive him? Go ahead.
Till 7 times?
Should I only forgive a single brother 7 times and call it quits? Go ahead.
And Jesus said, lucky.
Yahushua.
Yeah, I got you. And Yahushua saith to him, I say not unto thee until 7 times.
Saying so Christ or Yahushua told Peter, nah, I'm not gonna say you simply forgive him 7 times. Go ahead.
But unto 70 times 7.
So you forgive your brothers, your sisters, no matter what the offense is, 70 times 7. In other words, damn near an infinite amount of times.
A whole lot.
It's
not an actual number, Christian.
Right. Because no brother is gonna offend you. What's 70 times 7? 490 times.
Right.
You understand? Ain't no brother gonna offend you that many times. So you understand? Us as a nation, we gotta realize, we just gotta keep forgiving our brothers.
My fault. So lucky.
Go ahead.
No, my fault. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, priest.
No, go ahead.
Most High Christ. I was gonna say what you're saying is such a heavy point. Like, we have to learn how to forgive, and if it makes it easier for you, you goddamn Christian, to forgive your brother, here's how you can do it. Just pretend like he's the white man, because you sure as hell forgive him 77 times 7.
Right.
You get what I'm 70 times 7. You forgive the white man so goddamn much. You get what I'm saying? You forgive him with no goddamn problem at all. In fact, you tell us to forgive him.
Right.
We get out there and we talk about these cops killing unarmed black men while white school shooters get taken alive. How that brother got shot 7 times in the back while a devil can kill 2 unarmed protesters and walk up to the police with the AR. You tell us to forgive him and somehow forgive him and keep loving him and forgive him some more. Like, he can tell us to do that, right?
Right.
But for some odd reason, we can't forget that nigga. For whatever it is that nigga did, that nigga breathed the same air as me.
Right.
How can I forgive that?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That black man is suffering the same way that every other black man is suffering. If anybody deserves any kind of goddamn mercy, love, and compassion in this filthy world, it should be only blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
These other nations have been loved and forgiven and had mercy and compassion and understanding too goddamn much of it, actually.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Maybe it's time to have a little bit of hate for your goddamn enemy. How about that? Maybe it's time to have some love and compassion for your goddamn brother. How about that? You understand? Like, if you can forgive the white man for his countless crimes against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and even to this day, how he continues to accumulate even more countless crimes against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. If you can forgive him, you goddamn filthy Christian, you can forgive that black man for whatever offense he may have done.
Right.
You have to forgive that black man. The same way that you claim that you have to forgive that devil, right?
Right.
You have to forgive that black man the same way. It's the Christian thing to do. Get what I'm saying? It's because God loves everybody. Right, Christian? So where's our love? Where's our forgiveness? Where's our compassion? Where's our understanding? Can we get a little bit of that? God damn. It's lucky.
Nah, shoot. Hey, so that was perfect. You brought that out, Otto. Because, I mean, you can bring out all the countless crimes that it is that our oppressor has done to our nation.
Right.
And I'm going to use Gad, for example. So you can bring up how it was that, you know, he would stomp babies' heads in, smash them against rocks, cut open the bellies of pregnant women.
Right, the Trail of Tears.
You understand? You can bring up how it was that they would, you know, cut off the breasts of our women, cut out their uteruses,
right,
and stretch it over their hats as decoration. How they would cut up a man's scrotum and use it as like a tobacco pouch. You can bring up all of that. And every single time, no matter what native it is that you talk to, you're saying Gadite you talk to, they always push, you got to forgive them. It's what the ancestors want. The same people.
The same ones that fought to the death against them.
Right.
All of a sudden want you to forgive them.
You're saying the same one that got their scrotums cut off so the tobacco could be packed into it. That's who, you know what I'm saying, they want you to forgive them for that.
Right.
Same ones who were ripped apart by ferocious war dogs, ripped apart by horses,
right,
or gang raped by disgusting Spaniards. And they want you to forgive them for what it is they've done.
They was put on the train tracks and tortured that way.
Right.
The trains run over them and stuff. That's where the cowboys get that from in them goddamn movies, because that's how they did the Gedites.
Right.
You understand? And then not only that, but then they turn around and make a goddamn feast day.
Right.
A feast day, talk about Thanksgiving. You get what I'm saying? And like you said, they preach that goddamn forgiveness.
Right.
They preach that forgiveness. Like, how can them words even come out your goddamn mouth and not have that same compassion on your own brothers and sisters?
Right. Yeah. Say same breath we sit there and talk about forgiveness. Those same natives, indigenous people will sit there and talk about, oh, well, blacks sat there and hunted Native Indians, you know what I'm saying, talking about the Buffalo Soldiers,
right,
saying how he's saying they killed countless men, women, and children all for the U.S., all for money, all for power. And that's their reason for not sitting there and joining to so-called blacks.
Right.
Because your brothers were manipulated in order to play into what it was that the oppressor needed.
Right. And both sides were manipulated.
Right.
Blacks hunted Gadites and Gadites hunted blacks.
Right.
Gadites were told, you let any of these so-called slaves who escaped on this reservation, and it's going to be a problem. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And what did they do? They start hunting blacks. Blacks was told, if you don't help us fight these goddamn Gadites, it's going to be a problem. And what did the blacks do? We fought against them. Instead of retaining some kind of goddamn honor and choosing death before we hurt our goddamn brothers.
And not only was it blacks against natives, but it was also blacks and natives against Hispanics.
Right.
So the oppressor sitting there and spewing out all kinds of lies about our Hispanic brothers, just like they do today. You know what I'm saying? Talking about them being murderers and rapists.
Right.
Talking about, how it was that, the Mexican army sat there and slaughtered some native tribes along the border, this, that, and the third.
Right.
Knowing damn well it was a bunch of devils that rode out dressed as some Mexicans.
Right.
And sat there to try to cause some type of conflict amongst the 12 tribes of Israel.
Heavy goddamn point if I could, soldier.
Go ahead.
Like, the white man is such an animal, man. And he tells on himself in all his movies, man. I can't remember the name of the movie, man. But there's a movie where he does that in the goddamn movie. And we know, even when you look at him and read his books on his war tactics and all of that, that's what he does. The white man is such an animal. He will attack his goddamn self.
Mm-hmm.
He will attack his own people and then blame it on the Gadites.
Right.
He will dress up like Indians, attack a little a rich town, slaughter the people, and then look what these goddamn Indians have done to us.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Look what these niggers have done to us. Like, and blame his enemies for it. You get what I'm saying? He will attack his own people and blame them and galvanize the rest of the people to turn against the people that he wants dead. You get what I'm saying?
God.
And at the same time, like you said, he's manipulating, trying to make it seem like the body count that the Buffalo Soldiers had against the Gadites, and that the Gadites had against the black slaves, and that the Gadites and Judah had against the Israelites.
Right.
Like, he's trying to tally all these goddamn bodies up to make it seem like it's such a big number. But my thing is this: who has more blood on their goddamn hands than the white man?
Right.
Who has more murders under his who has the highest body count? Whose body count is higher than the white man?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Saying, Slave, if I could.
Go ahead.
Say, not only do they sit there and manipulate the numbers, try to make it seem like what it was that we did to each other was so terrible, which it was, saying, but it was out of our hands, of course. You know, saying, because we were being manipulated, being lied to.
Right.
The white man was doing what he did best, but they also ignore how it was that we came together before all that.
Right.
Before we were manipulated. You had slaves running to different native tribes. You know, saying native tribes would go to war with the U.S. Army or any other, like European power that was over here that was trying to retake slaves.
Right. You're absolutely right.
You
had Judites is chiefs in Native Indian tribes.
Right.
You understand? Like, we knew we was fucking brothers. So lucky my language.
And not only that, but you also had, when times got real dire, you had natives and blacks running to South America to the Hispanics in order to further our brotherhood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We would fight in the Mexican armies.
That's what I was just about to say.
Trying to keep U.S. forces out.
Right. You're damn right,
you understand?
Man.
That's just something that history just chooses to refuse to remember, to teach, is that at the end of the day, we always had some type of brotherhood as a nation.
Right. You're damn right. We always had that brotherhood, man. That's why the I.S.U.P.K and the Commander GEN.YAHANNA is so important, because, like the scriptures say, rehearse the acts of old. You know what I'm saying? The righteous acts. That's why you can see Judah and Gad right here, right now, sitting here in unity. And I'm gonna just tell you like this: I wish a nigga would try to touch my brother. You
right.
get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's gonna be the last thing he ever doing before he leave this earth. You get what I'm saying? And listen, he's not gonna succeed. You get what I'm saying? Because we remember the days of old. We remember how Gad and Judah was together.
You get what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. No devil could ever come in this house right here and ever turn me against my goddamn brother. Ever, man. Ever. We follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and this brotherhood is a goddamn weapon, man.
Right.
And we gonna wield it like one. This brotherhood gonna destroy all of our enemies. Point blank, period. No enemy can stand before us with this brotherhood.
Right.
Ain't no way, ain't no how. It's impossible. It's trying to stand before this brotherhood is like trying to stand before a tsunami.
Right.
You're gonna get wiped out.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yes, and just a point to add to the brotherhood that we had back in the day as a nation, no matter what it was that we called ourselves or were labeled as.
Right.
There, so those in the world can't say, oh, that was just one instance, it was a fluke, this and that. But we had such strong ties as brothers, for a people that were supposedly new to the shores and a people that, dwelled in these lands and, viewed blacks as just an attachment of Europeans, you understand? But we had such strong ties of brotherhood as a nation that Europeans literally wrote home, sent a letter across the sea that would take 365 days in order to reach their governments, and they would beg for them to send armies over in order to split up what it was that we had going on.
Right.
Same with the runaway slaves joining to the depleted native tribes, and us coming together and dwelling together, just to being brothers, you understand?
Right.
And that just struck such fear into these heathens that they had no choice. They had to take drastic measures.
Right.
So drastic.
Right.
And that just goes to show you the fear that our oppressor has for the 12 tribes coming together.
Right. For the fear of brotherhood, for the fear of the Most High's bloodline, his chosen people coming together the way he told them to.
Right.
In the spirit of brotherhood. You understand? And another weapon to try to destroy this brotherhood that they instituted and still continue to this day is that goddamn Christianity. You understand? Right. Don't it seem kind of weird how the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were all forced to be Christians?
Right.
But somehow the Japanese man was able to keep his own religion.
Right.
Somehow the Chinese man was able to keep his own religion. Somehow the Muslims was able to keep their own religion.
Right.
Somehow the Africans were able to keep their own religion. So, go ahead.
Oh, so like I was going to say, and this is after all this, racism and prejudice was they supposedly faced in these different times. The Japanese faced there in World War II. Right. And you got the Arabs.
They got a whole goddamn nuclear bomb dropped on them.
Right.
And still was able to keep their own religion. Like, I think they would have became super Christians after that.
I say, shoot, look at the Middle East. Completely bombed to hell.
Right.
They still kept their religion.
Damn right.
Africans had...
the doo-doo god, whatever it is.
You understand? And they were still able to keep it even after all the hands that got chopped off and heads and feet.
Right. But somehow them blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, they all became good Christians.
Right.
Under white Jesus. That's one of them things to make you go, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, don't you wonder why? And then when and if you broke it down to this most simplistic value of it all, how is it that we are still the targeted people? When you really think about it, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the targets of all this racial bias. You get what I'm saying? Like, everybody else is able to sustain and do their thing and thrive and flourish, but somehow, like you said, here you are in the middle of the goddamn desert. You Area 51, and you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Right next to Area 51 is a goddamn Christian church. How is that? You get what I'm saying?
Right. Hey.
In the middle of the goddamn reservations, nothing but desert everywhere. Ain't even a goddamn water well, but there's a Christian church.
I was about to say, and not only that is there desert everywhere, but you'll see a couple houses sprinkled in between that are just completely run down.
Right.
It's saying look like they've been bombed out by some U.S. Aircraft.
Right. But that church is strong. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
that church is strong.
It's like that was the best buildings in the res.
Right.
It was better than
Bashas, which is like their supermarket, but it's owned by East Indians.
Right.
You're saying that they look better than that.
Right. Kind of reminds me of another place that I've, be at all the time. Oh, yeah, that's right, the ghetto.
Right.
Where every goddamn corner there's another Christian church looking glorious.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Reminds me of another place, man. Oh, the burials where our Hispanic brothers is at.
Right.
Somehow, no matter where them MS-13s are and them Latin Kings, there's a Christian in every one of them corners in LA.
John.
You get what I'm saying? Somehow, them Christian churches is everywhere where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are.
Right.
But they're not in them. They're not in them heathen neighborhoods. They're not where the Africans live at and congregate at and dwell at. There's not no churches there. And if there is a church, you better believe that they don't worship the same God as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They're not worshiping white Jesus.
Right.
They in there, they speaking their own language. They in there, oh my God, the wicked people. Doing their Wakanda for everything. Like they doing it. You get what I'm saying? They have their own goddamn religion. They worship their own goddamn gods, man.
Saying if I could.
Go ahead.
Saying even for the heathens that are on the reservations, not just Edomites, saying our oppressor, white people,
right?
But also saying the Arabs that are out there, the Arabs that own jewelry shops, saying they are making bank off of all the hard work you put in to make these different, unique indigenous crafts. You understand? They still keep their religion, even though they've been dwelling amongst you for years. With Native women, saying kids fuck slacking, and saying that I've seen, like 10 and up. You understand? Even after all that, they still keep their, Islam.
Right. They take on their father's customs.
Right. You understand? The Africans that are out there that run the gas stations, they still keep their gods. They don't conform to our way, even though they're surrounded.
Right. They're not dressing like Gad. They're not acting like Gad.
Right.
They're not trying to speak like Gad. You get what I'm saying? They're not eating their food. They're not doing none of that. It's not holy days or holidays or whatever it is. You get what I'm saying? They don't do none of that, man. They keep their own. And they damn sure show brotherhood to their own.
Right.
The proof of these other nations showing brotherhood is how they thrive in here in America. That's why Chinatown is still Chinatown. It's not ran down. You ever go to a Chinese restaurant? When I was in the world, I used to go to a Chinese restaurant, and it was filled with nothing but Chinese people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They would go there on their lunch breaks. They would drive goddamn 15 miles to go shop and spend money with their own people.
Right.
Like they literally would. They would do all of that, man. They made it a point to spend what they own and show brotherhood to their own. Everybody's mad about how this white devil was able to and then go up to the police with his AR after having blood on his hands and then go home that same night and eat good and sleep good in the same bed. They wonder how that happened. The white man loves his own.
Right.
He loves his own. That's why you've never seen a white school shooter get murdered by the cops. He's always taken alive. He could listen, somehow they know how to talk him out of shooting them when he has the AR pointed at him.
Right.
Put the gun down, little Timmy. Don't kill us. Listen, we understand. She should have gave you her number. We understand, right? They understand, right?
Right.
But that black man, they don't know how to take him alive at all. You know what I'm saying? They see that black man as like,
right,
mighty man.
That's crazy because, like, how does they can take an armed shooter, someone that has killed like a dozen plus people, right, take them alive, but yet at the same time, whenever it is our people do like peaceful protests,
right,
and
they get murdered,
and we come together because we want to better our nation. So you can take the protests out on the reservations, Standing Rock, what happened a couple years ago, right, what was happening up in Canada, to protest that pipeline. And
if I could, my fault.
And you're saying you got our people out there that are being attacked by dogs and shot by rubber bullets,
murdered.
Right,
murdered out there.
You're saying which, if you're hit with a rubber bullet at a close enough distance, it can cause serious damage.
That thing gonna put a bruise on you that big.
Yo, not only that, it can rupture internal intestines. It can cause brain damage. You can lose eyes.
I seen a chick get her eye put out with one.
You understand? And they was lighting us up. I know up in Standing Rock with them rubber bullets.
Right.
having us stand in freezing cold waters as they were standing on the warmer shores, just with riot shields keeping us from coming up so we can get warm.
Right.
It's doing all these different type of things to us, and that just shows us the type of hatred it is that they have towards us.
Right. And if I could
go ahead.
And all this is because they don't want a pipeline ran through their land, which was already their land. It was stolen and given back to them,
Right.
and told that nobody was able to come and take that land from them ever again.
Right.
That's why all that was done. And it was something else that you touched on that I wanted to say. Like, we see a lot of Judah dying in the news, but that's just because Judah is, one of the biggest,
dominant.
The dominant nation. You know what I'm saying? One of the dominant tribes, rather. You know what I'm saying, in the nation of Israel. But what we don't see is how many of our Hispanic brothers die and how many of our Native Indian brothers die, man. Like the Native Indians, like it's so goddamn wicked with them. Like every time one of them dies, it's like sweeping them up under the rug.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I wanted to bring up earlier. Like when you was talking about, what's going on the reservations. You know how many of them died? Like, man, they swept that shit straight up under the rug. Like they was out there killing them. They wasn't just shooting rubber bullets. They was putting them to death. You get what I'm saying? Like I heard stories about how natives was coming up missing, like missing, and to the point of goddamn trace of them. You get what I'm saying? No bones, no nothing. And you get what I'm saying? Like these niggas just decide to leave. Right. Where the hell they gonna go?
Right.
Where they gonna go? You know what I'm saying? Where the hell they gonna go, Matarab?
Right.
That's what I want to know. Where they?
Oh, no, I was gonna add, that one only way coming up missing, getting shot with projectiles and having war dogs sicked on them, you understand, but we were also being frozen out, starved out.
Right.
You understand, had supplies burned up by police.
Right.
You understand, it's a sight that truly only can remind you of war times.
Right. That's what it was. That was the act of freaking war.
God, that's the type of tactics it was that they would use back on our ancestors. You know, back in the day, in order to try to get us to submit to them, try to break our spirits.
Right.
And we got to realize as a nation, the white man, he always keeps his tactics, written down in a book so he can break them out later when he needs to use them against us as a nation.
Right. And another thing is this. You know how all these other nations have also been conquered at some point in time, but they was able to keep written history of what went on with them, and their libraries weren't totally wiped out. Why is it that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians libraries were totally wiped out?
Right.
Like totally wiped out. You know how much effort has to go into totally wiping somebody's history out?
Right.
And then taking the time to rewrite it.
Hey.
Why is it that only Blacks' history was rewritten? Left alone,
right?
But ours was rewritten. Like nobody never stops to ask these questions, except for the priests and prophets in I.S.U.P.K. under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. Go ahead.
I was like you understand? You would have to go to of what it was. Goddamn, Hitler did. And how he sat there and burned books and all these records across Germany, all across the country. You understand? Because that was one of the first things that the conquistadors had done once they invaded, was they gathered up all the books and different objects that have been inscribed or written on, and they destroyed
all
them.
the history. Right. And said and done, for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to try to segregate themselves apart from one another. How can we do that when all our history lines up with each other? You get what I'm saying? How can we try to separate ourselves from each other when all of our history lines up with each other?
Right.
That don't make any goddamn sense at all. You get what I'm saying? That goes to show you that we are all the same people. That Black is Hispanic and Hispanic is Native Indian. All the same goddamn people. We are. There's no denying it. There's no refuting it. Our history is all the same. The pain and suffering that we went through is all the same, man. That's why it's important for every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian to come into the I.S.U.P.K. under Commander GEN.YAHANNA.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? So lucky I'm not our Native Indian brothers, man. You get what I'm saying? Our Native Indian brothers need to realize that we are all the same people. I understand, you know what I'm saying, like they want to, try to preserve what they do have, But they got to understand that like to preserve it means to come back to your brothers
Right.
in the I.S.U.P.K, like the blacks and Hispanics. Go ahead.
Well, it's not just Gad, but really it's all 12 tribes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I talk to Jakes and my slave every day, and they make it their mission to say how it is that that blacks don't mess with Hispanics or natives, how natives don't mess with them, and Hispanics, you know, blacks and natives, and saying just basically making any excuse possible not to join to their brothers.
Right.
And saying we got to realize as a people, shoot, that we're all one, and that the only way for us to come up out of this condition that we're in as a whole is to join together.
Right.
You understand?
You're so goddamn right.
Well, we just gotta stop being so goddamn selfish as a nation.
Like the Lord says, stiff neck.
Right. You understand? You gotta learn that you can't always have that white woman by your side. You understand?
Don't hurt their feelings like that.
You gotta realize it's like it. They're saying you gotta realize that white man, he's not always gonna be your best friend or your lover.
Listen, let a race war break out tomorrow.
Right.
Who is that? Like all of Israel with these heathen lovers. Who do you think that heathen lover is gonna choose?
Right.
Because they're gonna be like, I'm fighting with you.
We'd actually say, oh no, they're sticking with me. That's been my family for 5. They're not gonna leave me. That just goes to show how much of a slave we are as a nation.
Right. Damn right. And at the end of the day, what really happens though in them situations is that the Israelite ends up conforming to the other side, to the heathen side, and trades on their own people to please the heathen. And it's been proven time and time again, all through goddamn slavery. You know what I'm saying? All through modern time up until now. Even now. Like Facebook is such like Facebook is, you really got to know how to deal with Facebook, because everybody with a goddamn Facebook page is now able to put out videos and say whatever and stuff. And I just come across so many wicked people that's, you know, like especially Judah. Like I remember I showed you that one cat. Like I cannot stand that cat.
Okay.
Listen, man. I know I'm supposed to have brotherhood, but you not hear the stuff that brother be saying? Like that nigga hates us, man. He hates black people, and he will do whatever it is to be loved by the oppressor. And to have he looks at the oppressor as his brother. He don't look at me and you as a brother. Like we are his enemy because we are black and we don't agree with the white man.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? He looks at the white man. That's a Christian for you, because the Christian looks at the white man as his brother, but he don't look at another person in the same condition as him as his brother.
Right.
Like, and that's a dangerous thing, man. That is a very dangerous thing. You know what I'm saying? When you don't look at the same person that's suffering like you as you. Like here we are, we both suffering the same thing, me and you. But I don't look at you as me. Instead, somehow I find a way to relate to that rich white man.
Right.
Like, how the hell can you even pull that off? That has to be nothing but self-hatred, man. And let me tell you something, man. The Lord is the Lord, that spirit right there, man. Like that right there is a quick way to death. That is a quick way to death. Like we just brought on the scriptures.
Right.
That hatred for your brother, that is a quick way to death. You didn't already judge me. You done ruled against me, and you didn't even hear me plead my case. You don't even know why I'm in the situation I'm in. But even though you're living the same life that I'm living. You get what I'm saying? They take one or two tokens and put them up front like that is what black life is all about.
Right.
Black man to be successful, let me rephrase that. In order for a black man to be glorified, he has to be a football player, a basketball player, a rapper, some type of UFC fighter, something like that, a boxer. He has to be cooning and buffooning for the white man's entertainment in order for him to be glorified. If he's a lawyer, a doctor, or something of that nature, he doesn't get any shine. And even if he is getting some shine, it's because that he's totally forsaken the brotherhood that he's supposed to show when it comes to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. He's totally forsaken that brotherhood, and he's adopted the ways of the heathen.
Salaki to keep happening on. Salaki, mighty man.
112. If you could, read verse 22 from the top. I want to touch on one little thing, one personal thing I went through today.
Damn right. I'm about to get it now. Hold on, Salaki.
Yes, I got it right here.
I got it. Matthew. And Yahushua saith unto him, I say not unto thee unto 7 times, but to 70 times 7.
Understand? So we already went over how was you supposed to forgive your brother a countless amount of times.
Damn right, every time.
You're saying it don't matter what it is that he does, you're supposed to forgive that man and not sit there and harbor some type of hatred towards him, or else, I mean, it's gonna bring the wrath of the Lord down upon your head.
Damn right.
See, we went over how it is that, you know, us as a nation, even though of course the white man is not our brother, how us as a nation still find a way to forgive him and make excuses for his sins.
We make him our brother.
Right. You understand? But today, you know what I'm saying, I even had a devil that sits there and makes excuses for all the crimes it is that his people have committed. You know what I'm saying? This beast has a traitor for a wife. You understand? And at the same time, in the same breath of him making these excuses, he's me. You understand? I don't like, after looking into everything that it is that my people have, I don't see how it is that black people have not gone out and just started killing white people for what it is that they have done.
Right.
And that just goes to show you that we should not be simply forgiving them for all of their crimes as a nation.
So if I could.
Go ahead.
What you're saying is that even the white man knows that he's a goddamn animalistic,
right,
murderous, or rapist, and that if the shoes return, he would never forgive us.
Right. I say, and if I could, not only that, but that just goes to show you that they know that we shouldn't just simply be forgiving them for what it is that they've done.
Right.
And saying we should have some type of hatred towards them. Not saying you go out and commit an act and killing some white person just because they're white.
Right.
But you should learn to simply separate from these people.
Right.
To give all that love that you gave these beasts, give all that to your own. Give that to the black, Hispanic, or Native Indian that is suffering beside you.
Damn right. Goddamn right.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that's all it needs. That's the only ones that need it, is the people of your nation.
Right. And if I could,
go ahead.
When you said that, it reminded me of Django. Now everybody's been seeing this goddamn Measure Candy meme going out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, DiCaprio. Hey, Zalagi, that shit is funny. Right. Now, everybody been seeing that meme go out. But remember when he was at the table and he was talking about razor and cut his daddy's beard, and he was like, and after everything that they had done, he was like, and had that had been me,
right,
I would have slit his throat. I would have killed him for what happened to mine.
From ear to ear.
From ear to ear, right? That goes to show you how the white man truly thinks. You didn't want me to tell you why Leonardo DiCaprio played that role so good? Really how he feels.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's really in his spirit. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't hard for him. Like, man, a nigga, that wasn't hard for him to play a corrupt, cruel plantation white devil, want to make sure every nigga suffer. I paid $500 for you. I expect 5 fights. You may not can win all 5, but you can fight all 5.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like that, really, they spirit. And even that devil in that movie said, look, there's no way that I would have just America. We went to war with Britain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Salakia. When I said we, I meant the devil.
Right.
They went to war with Britain. Let me fix that.
It's like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like it's and really, whenever that devil said that, he ain't really mean, you know, gun down the white German.
No,
he meant gun down the niggas that was trying to leave of their own free will.
Right.
Even though they were technically free men.
He cashed out.
And we gotta recognize as a nation. We gotta recognize as a nation. For instance, you know, the movie Django, all the things that them slaves were put through. How it was they had the 2 brothers fighting to the death.
Right.
You understand? Scratches all over their arms, necks, and backs.
Right.
And eyes being gouged out, teeth marks in each other's flesh.
War dogs.
You know what I'm saying? Not only that, the sister that was shoved into a hot box and tortured, Django, who was going to have his rod cut off, which in real life they would have followed through with it. We got to remember that happened to all 12 tribes.
Right.
And that happened to thousands upon thousands of us.
Right.
We got to remember these things as a people. Because, I mean, if we forget it, I mean, we're bound to repeat the past.
Damn right. Damn right. That's such a heavy goddamn point. That's why, you know what I'm saying? That's why, listen, that's why the UPK do what we do. That's why every goddamn weekend you see us on these streets and you see us blazing the way that we do, because we have to constantly remind our brothers and sisters of our history and of who our true enemy is, because the second we don't, we become docile and we start to think that these people love us. We truly do have Stockholm Syndrome. These white people do one goddamn thing nice for us and we think that they love us.
Right.
Somehow, you know what I'm saying, the white man give us a goddamn holiday of his own choosing, and that's love to us.
Right.
The white man owns everything in this goddamn country. You ever been on the interstate? This is for people that's watching, people in the world. You ever been on the interstate just riding and you see all this open land? Go ahead.
Oh, so like I just wanted to add off that they make a holiday for us and we think we're loved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Natives or Gadites were going wild when it was that our oppressor gave us, what was it, like a month? And saying a month to celebrate and the indigenous people.
Didn't give you shit but a goddamn holiday.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And shoot, we went crazy for the single day that they gave us as well.
Right.
You understand? Even though the same major problems that were plaguing us didn't stop at all for that day or that month, sisters were still coming up missing at alarming rates.
Right.
Drugs were still being pushed.
Right.
Our people were still being made alcoholics, still being incarcerated, still being murdered.
Right.
Saying all these different type of things. And shoot, hey, white man, he gave us a holiday though.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's saying we got a month.
Let's celebrate it. Let's go hard. Which is such a heavy point. Go ahead.
I'll say Shalagi. You understand? Homosexuals got a month before we did.
They say a nation before we were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we're a sovereign nation.
Right.
And yet a group, the nation of homosexuals got more rights, got more laws set in place to better them than they do the indigenous people of this land.
You can do anything that you want to a goddamn indigenous person of this land, to any one of the 12 tribes. You can do whatever you want to them, and nothing will happen to them. But the second that you call a homosexual the F word, we can't even say the F word no more. You know what I mean when I say the F word.
Yeah.
We can't say the F word. If I was to say it on national TV, they would beep. Beep. Beep.
Slight. They cut the whole feed.
Goddamn beep. That's how it would be. But I'd be like, you goddamn nigga, that would just play out regular.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You ever watch a movie on USA or something that's like supposed to be like a hood movie, like Baby Boy or Boys in the Hood or whatever? They will beep every goddamn word except for nigga. Nigga just plays regular. They be like, beep you, nigga. Who you think you talking to, Jack? Nigga, you better kiss my beep. Like, wait, what?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, they beep the cuss words, but nigga plays out. You get what I'm saying? They want you to know what you are and what it means, that derogatory statement that was used to disrespect a black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You get what I'm saying? And really, they say nigga because they was too ignorant to say nagger. You get what I'm saying? They didn't know how to pronounce it. And some hillbilly was like, yeah, he's a nagger. Nigger? Yeah, that sounds about right. You get what I'm saying? But they really tried to call us nagger, which is Latin for black.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So let me tell you something, black man. I see a lot of Egyptologists talk about, I don't use the word nigger. Let me tell you something. You're an I.S.U.P.K. That word is not offensive to us.
Right.
Go to Acts, what is it, 1 to 13? 13 and 1?
13 and 1.
Acts 13 and 1?
You may go there.
Yeah, if you would. Let me show you something in the Bible, man. Let me show you something and why you shouldn't be ashamed of the word nigger. You get what I'm saying? This is why you shouldn't be ashamed of it, man. Because this word was already in the Bible. You get what I'm saying? The Lord was like, them my niggas. That's a lot. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there's no shame in this word, man. You got it?
Come.
Let's get it.
Book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch
Listen, Antioch was like one of the big schools, like equated to the white man schools nowadays, like Harvard and Yale and all that crap. Purdue, you know what I'm saying? Notre Dame, all them big schools. Like this is, you know what I'm saying, the same kind of thing. The church was a big deal in Antioch. Go ahead.
Certain prophets and teachers.
They talk about I.S.U.P.K niggas right here. You get what I'm saying? Keep
right.
going.
As Barnabas and Simeon.
They gave you two names, Barnabas and Simeon. Keep going.
I was like to say if I could.
Go ahead.
You understand? And these two names, those were the only teachers that were there. You understand? Don't, you understand? Us growing up in a modern time, you know, for those of our people that are Christians, we like to think, oh, there's teachers all over the place. You understand? There were teachers all over the lands, this and that. You understand? When the Lord only had a select few of priests and prophets to raise up the nation.
Right, and we about to find out what them priests and prophets look like too. Keep going.
That was called Niger.
That was called who?
That was called Niger.
Read that word for me. Let me spell that word for me.
N-I-G.
Listen, anybody with any, listen, if you got a goddamn third grade education, you know that the word Niger is a derivative of the word nigga. You get what I'm saying? You know that. You know Niger means nigga. You know Niger is Latin for black.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And it says that the teachers there, as Barnabas and Simeon, were called Niger. Niger means black. You get what I'm saying? Point blank, period. So don't ever be ashamed about being a nigga, man, because that's what they called the priests and prophets, the teachers that was teaching. Go ahead.
So I was gonna ask, how is it they try to use, you know, nigga as an insult to our people? You notice that there's only certain, you know, so-called groups that they actually use insults for, like, openly.
Right.
Like, and that is blacks, Hispanics, natives.
Damn right.
You see,
Goddamn
the
right.
niggas,
Why you
the
kill them
Spics,
like that?
the savages.
Why you kill them like that?
You're saying you can't sit there and go out and call an Asian a derogatory term and it'd be okay. You're gonna be charged with you know, hate speech.
Crime. Yeah, hate crime.
You can't go out and call a Jewish man. You can't say he's not a real Jew. That alone is gonna charge you with hate speech.
Yeah, ask Nick Cannon.
Right. You can't call our oppressor, you saying a cracker. You're gonna be charged with hate speech. You can't call all these different heathen nations some type of offensive term without being charged, but yet you can come to the Lord's chosen people and call them any and everything in the book, and you can get away with it. It's going to be funny to everybody.
Right, and like the scriptures say, you will be a byword.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's just another byword. But at the end of the day, like I said, you don't need to be ashamed about that, man, because the teachers of everyone were niggas.
Right.
Point blank, period.
Right.
And this goes out to them so-called Moors, right? Because the Moors, for some odd reason, the Moors like to think that they're a nation.
Right.
And I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, where is the nation of Moor at? Show me that on the map. Show me the nation of Moor, where the Moors descend from. Moor was just more niggas. That's all it was. That's what Moor meant. More niggas. And that word came out to distinguish the difference between the people who had became the teachers and the people who were the slaves. That's all it was. It was just to distinguish the difference, because I didn't want you to know that, like, I'm calling, you know what I'm saying, for example, of course, I'm calling Matara a nigger, right? This is a nigger right here. But that's because I done took him and made him a slave. Even though he was once a teacher, once a chief leader, once an elder, once a warrior, I've somehow managed to conquer him, and I'm calling him a nigger now. But I'm going to take the weaker vessel, I'm going to take the one who's not liable to fight against me, and I'm going to call him something else, because I don't want y'all to relate to being the same people. Right. Who's going to be content with their brothers and sisters being in fucking slavery? Select my language. Right. Go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback, but you pretty much already went over it. How it was they would take the darker of the natives and label them as African Americans, and they'd be called niggas. And then you got the lighter ones they'd call savages, and they would use that the
colorism.
Yeah, the colorism. They'd use that to divide us and keep us apart from being a nation.
And that's such a heavy point, because it didn't matter if you was a a field nigga or a house nigga.
Right.
Guess what? You still a goddamn slave,
Right.
stupid.
Right.
It'd be the house niggas that was trying to escape. You get what I'm saying? It'd be the sisters in the house that was trying to escape. It was always that one big mama that wanted everybody to be cool. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say Django's rib.
Right.
Trying to escape on her own.
Right.
At that.
They had her in the house. And that's the point I want to make right there. I'm glad you brought that up. Use her an example. Why did she want to escape? Because they was in there raping her. And she didn't like that. You get what I'm saying? Now, it was some, you know what I'm saying, that was with it. Them was probably the ones that's reincarnated and went devils now. You get what I'm saying? But the other sisters, they was killing themselves trying to do whatever to get away. Go ahead, Marty.
You finished?
No, go ahead. Bring it up.
It's like I was gonna add, saying for the Gadites to sit there and say, well, they didn't have our people as house slaves. You understand? But at the same time, what they did have us as? They had us as the nuns in the ministries. You understand? They would sit there and kidnap sisters and brainwash them with Christianity, and have them as the nuns and sell them off as wives to some rich devil, or really even poor devil. You understand? The highest bidder. So that's the same thing that was happening to them. The black sisters, the tribe of Judah, it's the same thing that was happening to Gad, to Issachar, Simeon, Manasseh, and the rest of the 12 tribes.
And if I could, for the Gadites to say that, you just a goddamn idiot. Like, I remember hearing stories, man, as well as, came across a couple of books as well. Like when my grandfather on my mother's side, I remember, used to kick it with him and watch old ass movies.
Mm-hmm.
They used to watch the old black and white movies, man. And they be slave movies, and they would have Gadites as trackers.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So when a slave run away, they would pull out the Gadite trackers. You get what I'm saying? The Gadites were good trackers. Why? Because they was already warriors in the woods, so they knew how to track the footprints. Go ahead.
Oh, no,
go ahead.
It's like I was gonna add from movie Django again. I don't mean to advertise, the movie,
right.
But when they had the brother, that slave that was ripped apart by dogs,
right?
And they had, I don't know if that's supposed to be a Gadite or a devil, but was dressed up in traditional.
He was supposed to be a Gadite.
Israelite attire, you understand? Right. Or Gadite attire with the fringes everywhere, the deer skin.
Right, and that's another point I want to make. Like, when you hear these so-called white mans to be like, I'm 164th, 182 Cherokee and shit, and like, where do you think they got it from? They got it from being around the Gadites and learning how to track and all of that. That's why they like they started hanging around the Gadites, and they took on all the qualities of the Gadites for us, the hunting, the tracking, the killing. Like, how many times have you seen like them documentaries when a white man goes out into the Gadite, you know what I'm saying, to the area and take on their customs and stuff, right. And the Gadites just being who they are, except a man in the spirit of brotherhood, because they lost touches with the Most High. Go ahead.
So I was gonna add, we went over that a couple classes ago. How it was that there were Europeans cut off from their brethren, and they joined to natives. Mm-hmm. They were incorporated.
Their brothers came around
into their society. They learned the culture, the customs. They got acquainted with the people. They made families and all that. And their brothers came around and they turned on them. We got to realize as a people that the top ones that sit there and turn on us to, play into the hands of our oppressor, it's going to be those that are the children of white men that we so willingly welcome in as being native, even though historically, spiritually, scientifically,
right.
It shows that these people aren't of our nation.
Damn right. That's a heavy point, bro. And like them slave trackers, even back then, they learned how to track slaves from the Gadites.
Right.
They learned how to read the trails from the Gadites. You get what I'm saying? They could go into the woods and be like, they can look at the bushes and see which ones were disturbed, look for cracked twigs and all of that, and you know what I'm saying? See the footprints in the mud that nobody else can see. They learned all that from the Gadites, man. They used to, you know what I'm saying? That's who they learned it from. The Gadites were used as Negro hunters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Back and forth. like Negroes and Gadites, we were pent up against each other, man. And even to this day, man, we pent up against each other because now the white man uses Christianity as a tool to destroy our brotherhood, man. That's why, like I said, there's no more important. There's not one organization on the planet Earth more important than I.S.U.P.K under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, man.
Right.
This is the only organization that teaches true brotherhood, that teaches you how to love your brother, man. You get what I'm saying? How to show true brotherhood, man. You know what I'm saying? I know it's getting late in the class. We about to end it, man. You know what I'm saying? So lucky I always,
You're good.
run off.
You're good.
Talking crazy all the time in your classes. So lucky.
You're fine.
But at the end of the day, man, like the I.S.U.P.K teaches blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come together in the spirit of brotherhood, man.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? I thank the Most High in Christ for the I.S.U.P.K, man, under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, man. Because now, you know what I'm saying, I know what it is to truly be a brother. Now I know what it is to come together in brotherhood. I know who my brothers are, man.
That's it. And that is how every brother in the school should be feeling. You understand? Because I mean, shoot, me being, light skinned but still a dark nigga.
Yeah, you feel me?
You understand? Not knowing.
Shit, I got mine. I thought you were.
Oh no. Not knowing truly who it is that my brothers are. You understand? And find this truth and just being welcomed with open arms once you prove who it is that your father is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we can't just allow anyone into this truth, you know what I'm saying, into the nation of Israel, because that's how the Lord intends it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But once you prove all things as the scriptures say, you're saying, welcome into this army. I mean, you should have that sense, that spirit of there is no turning back. This is where it is that I should be.
Damn right. If your blood is Israel, if your blood is black, Hispanic, and Native Indian according to your father,
right.
You know what I'm saying? This is home. This is for the outcast. You know what I'm saying? I know me, I was an outcast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But here, I'm just a normal nigga.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Here, I'm just a normal nigga. You get what I'm saying? In the world, I was a nobody. Here, I'm a soldier. I'm in the Most High's army. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, right. You go ahead right now.
So I'm going to go ahead and hand the class over to a priest and officer of 1,000, Isaiah Aria.
Most High Christ.
Step down.
I'm going to do it. That's what's going on.
All right.
Let's do this. I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she will get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which a brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10 means 10th in the Hebrew. Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. The Feast of First Fruits will be on the 17th of this month. Every brother and sister is to get together with the brothers and sisters in their city. You understand? And celebrate the Lord's High Holy Day. So start preparing now. It's the 17th of this month. It's going to be done only the way I.S.U.P.K can do it. All right.
Reminder for Akim and Akwaf to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone is
Just skip to if you want to be.
If anyone wants to be a trooper to start wearing all black boots, shirt, bands, headbands, scarf. With that being said, imagine Wapanya Hakyadum, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abano. Shabbat Shemayim. Qudash. Ayah. Shimka. Yahweh. Malak. Tabaha. Ratazarka. Ayah. Aisha. Ba'arat. Ayah. Bashemayim. Nathan. Leno. Lekom. Kom. Wayam. Yawam. What's the lucky now? Kabawathi now. Kabawathi now. Kasalaki now. Kabawathi now. Wallaha. Tabaha now. Was on one. Barnesai one. Abo. I was shy now. Mayan. Right. Kaya. Laka. I'm a lock. Walla the power. Walla Aman. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. That will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. Forgive us of our debts. And forgive us of our debts. As we forgive our debts. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. It's like read power. Perfect power. My bad. Blessings. It's like the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shah. Why Makahala. Why Makahala. Why Matazabiyah. Alawap Yahanna. Ha'alawapia. Hazaranyam. Hakwatazayanyam. Hakayayam. Wa'akwathiam. Yahweh. Ba'ashim. Yahushua. The water Aman. The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahushua. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yahanna. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you, so be it. Sir, which means to turn and face the teacher. Man of Israel, salute to the teacher. Isupk. Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatah. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatam. That's a matah. Courtesy salute to the sisters online. Man of Israel, Isupk. Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's a matah. Class dismissed. Our core class as usual, priest.
Hey, the water to you. Chiming in and shit.